My name is Kirsten George. Some people call me Furious George because I roller skate with Dub City W Girls, but that's my name. So I was inspired as a little kid by Wolverine comic books, and that's how I actually got started doing my art and stuff like that, because I really liked Wolverine and I always wanted to just draw him, and so that's how I got into the game, I guess, as far as art is concerned. And I grew up drawing Wolverine comics and then expanded to other comics and then just started doing other things and started to draw everything pretty much. The thing I like to do the most is actually, I've grown up with fantasy stuff my whole life, and so I really have always been into anything that had anything to do with sci-fi or fantasy or anything that I just thought interesting. I'm really into stories, and I've written a couple of my own stories, and so when I was growing up, I would always create my own characters and create storylines for them, and so that's how I really got into drawing. And then I started, I actually went to school for a little bit in regular classes in middle school and learned how to do some techniques and stuff. But I actually showed the art teacher my art, and I showed her a picture of Wolverine that I had drawn, and I was trying to audition for School of the Arts, and she was like, "Oh, well, I'll sign your paper, but they don't really like this kind of stuff." And so that really shattered me, and I was like, oh, I guess I won't even bother to try and get into School of the Arts. So I just kept doing whatever it is I wanted to do. And I didn't really think I had any real talent in that way. And so I didn't know, when I was in high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. When I was in high school, they had a commercial art program for just learning how to do graphic design and stuff, and so I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I just took that, and it was really interesting and it was a lot of fun, but I wasn't sure if that's what I wanted to do with my life, so I quit the program, and I learned a lot of things like, Photoshop, Illustrator, that kind of stuff. So I just kept basically drawing whatever it is that I feel, whatever it is that I want to do, whatever I'm into that moment, whether it's Star Wars or Harry Potter or Doctor Who or anything. Or sometimes I run into people that inspire me and they tell me their story, and I put that into paintings and stuff like that. Yes, one of my favorite artists is a Japanese artist. His name is Yoshitaka Amano, and he did a lot of things for a video game series called Final Fantasy back in the day when I was growing up. And he has this really flowy, watercolor, sketchy style to it, and I just always loved that. And so I tried to emulate that a lot when I was drawing, because just the way, it was never really defined, it was just the way that his art moved and flowed. I just fell in love with it. And there's just Japanese artists are so incredibly talented, and so anything that they do, anything that the Japanese touch just seems to turn into gold when it comes to art. Well, my most favorite piece that I think I've ever done it was a picture. It was a painting of Iron Man, and I ended up selling it for like $50. And it still haunts me to this day that I sold that painting at all, because it was one of those paintings where it combined everything that I learned. It combined like the fine art that I learned and my love for comic books, and I kind of put the two together, and it just was incredible. So I still do a lot of like Iron Man work, or he's just always been my favorite to paint, or anybody in the comic books. But something about Iron Man, he's just so. He's such an icon that it's just so easy to paint him. You're like, that's Iron Man. Oh gosh, what would I say to any young artist? Don't give up, and don't let anyone else let you think that you're worth less than you actually are, because I feel like art is so subjective that, or I guess art is objective to, or it's supposed to be objective, but we turn it and make it subjective to, like my art teacher who was like, oh, this isn't what they want. Well, forget that. Do what you want to do what makes you happy, do what inspires you, and just keep doing it, because that's the only way you're going to get better. If you stop, you're never going to learn anything, and you can't be afraid of failing like that, because if you fail, then you can never learn how to succeed. There's this song. I'm a Christian, and there's a song that I was listening to once by a Christian artist named Misty Edwards, and the song's like, I knew what I was getting into. That's what it's called. But there's a line in the song that says, if you don't quit, you win. And that's just always stuck with me, the idea that if you don't quit, you win. Because running a marathon, as long as you don't stop running, you're going to finish that goal, and you might not be first place, but you might not be last place. As long as you finish, then in a sense you still win, and you still overcome the thing that you thought you couldn't do. And so sometimes I just have to remind myself, that's the one thing that I always tell myself when I get up in the morning. I'm like, I just don't want to do today, because sometimes it's hard. If you don't quit, you win. So that's it.